Hi there, Anna. So we've got some essays from you. Let's see what you wrote today. All right. So some people believe that employment over the age of 60 is not right and creates lots of problems. So people should retire after 60 and not work. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this opinion? Let's see what you said. Experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated whether people should retire after the age of 60. Okay, because it even shows it to you right here, the age of 60. And not work. Some believe that employment over this age is not right and creates lots of problems. All right, now look what you just did. You copied exactly what's here in the prompt, okay? Try to avoid that, please. It certainly doesn't, I mean, it's just something you don't want to do. I mean, I think you will get, it does make a bad impression on the examiner, and you could potentially lose marks for that. So, some believe, now look what's happening here. Let's try the sentence in the beginning. Some believe that employment over this age is not right and creates lots of problems. You're missing something to show contrast. So what you want here is, however, personally I strongly disagree with this statement, okay? Or yet, or but. I mean, even just anything that shows some sort of contrast is something you would really need here, okay? Alrighty, so. This essay will argue that people should continue working as much as they can at this age, using examples from the French government and Oxford University to demonstrate points and prove arguments. Fine. On the one hand, there is ample evidence that the elderly population should not be employed over the age of 60. Okay. Fine. The central reason for that is twofold. Now, with this, I really would prefer to see a colon or maybe even a semicolon, but not a comma. Firstly, every employee after decades of hard work deserves to be given some free time in his life. This population craves to spend more quality time with their families, children, and grandchildren as they realize the time they have left with them is limited. Secondly, many occupations are just not compatible with people at this age, especially those involving physical activities. For example, recent empirical research by the French government demonstrated that 60% of all population employed after age of 60 was hospitalized at least one time a year due to injuries received at their workplace. Workplace is usually one word, by the way. Okay, it must not be forgotten that even though those people perhaps have been working at the same workplace. See, here you did it, one word. Their general health is not the same at this age as it used to be in their youth. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that although the contribution, there we go, of this workforce, without the ing in one word usually. So the contribution is necessary to the society. The disadvantages from, careful with your typing, the damage to, okay, this is a little complicated. Check this out. Look where your sentence starts. It starts all the way up here, and it's 4 line long, so it's really too long. I mean, I haven't even read the whole thing, and I've gotten a little mixed up with where you're going. So let's try it again. Let's see where you can break it up and potentially what other changes you can make in order to keep the grammar advanced and complex, but to make it also easily read by the examiner. So let's try it again. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that although the contribution of this workforce is necessary for society, the disadvantages from the damage to the economics explain why many are reluctant I'm reluctant about this. Many people are reluctant about the idea of working at this age. Okay, so basically what I did is I took out that whole thing in the middle, due to raised health expenses together with the legitimate right to have some rest. I understand what you're trying to do, but it just became so complex. I would have to really rewrite the whole sentence in order to break it down into 2 sentences, but that's certainly something you can try to do, okay? On the other hand, although there is a case for the elderly population to have some rest at home with their close ones, their loved ones, we usually say, by the way, loved ones, the impact of the contribution of their knowledge and work experience, not experiment, work experience to the society cannot be overstated. This is largely because when it comes to soft data preservation, the one that cannot be passed solely by reading manuals, The value of these workers is priceless. When it comes to this, the value of these workers is priceless. Okay, for example, an extensive study by Oxford University showed that over 80% of the most successful high-tech companies in the last 2 decades have employees that have crossed the age of 60. Consistent with this line of thinking is that the elderly personnel is considered to be more dedicated to work and has the elderly personnel and has a higher work ethic, no S, and I don't even know if we can say a higher work ethic. I think we usually say a better work ethic than the average employee, no S here. Furthermore, as dozens of studies have shown, keeping the brain active at this age reduces the probability of developing Alzheimer's disease, therefore minimizing expenses from the government on treating those people. Treating without the after. Thus, it is how I would have said this. Thus, it is possible to state beyond doubt that the advantages of employment after 60 outweigh its disadvantages. All right, fine, very nice. Some errors, obviously, but fine. From the arguments and examples given, I firmly believe that every person eligible to work at this age should be capable of realizing their right in case they wish to do so. The government ought to encourage its citizens to continue working even after the age of 60. It is predicted that with the constant rise in life expectancy in the Western world, in the future people will not retire until a very late age. Okay, so there were some nice elements here. There were some places that confused me a little bit in terms of the syntax, in terms of the language. Another thing that confuses me is the way you started your paragraphs. Usually we indent, which means that we don't start outside, we start inside, like around where this word is, or around like where the word hand is. So this is a little strange to me. Another thing you could have done is you could have just left it as like a block text, but as you've done here, leave a line in the middle. Now I know this might seem like detail analysis, and that's not important, but I assure you it is important because the way you create your paragraphs is something that the examiner will look for. Let's see. Okay, the order of the paragraphs was fine. It was obviously really, really long. It was really long. I asked myself how long it took you to write this. It was really, really, really long. You should have been able to do this with like 200 words less. You still would have been at 350 words. I mean, I saw some places where there was just a lot of like language without really, really, really being necessary, but I didn't want to like completely edit it in that way. I think that's what's happening. So try to correct this. Try to really ask yourself, like, does this word or does this expression really add something to my essay? Is it necessary for this to make sense? So I think that's part of what's happening. But there were some things I liked. So let's let's move on. Okay, letter Albion. Let's see what you said. Dear Sir, Madam, thank you for your letter regarding my absence from the physics exam on June 4th. I would like to apologize for the fact that I have not submitted the necessary evidence in time. Okay, don't separate this from the verb. And let's see. I would like to apologize for the fact and propose without the to. You didn't need the to here. Possible resolutions for you to consider. All right, fine. My concern here is that it's exactly, again, the same language that was here. Do try to vary it a little bit, please. I would hate for an examiner to say that your language is relies completely on the task in order to, fulfill the requirements and everything. So be careful with that. Try to avoid it. All right, so now moving on. My name is Eva Smith, student number this. Case number as stated in your letter is blah, blah, blah. On the date of June 4th, I had an appendectomy, which is a surgical removal of the appendix. The procedure was not scheduled and had to be done urgently due to severe pain I had. Oh, where? I just got lost. Hold on. Okay. Due to the severe pain in the stomach I had felt the day before that, which required my hospitalization. Okay. After the surgery, I had to stay a few more days here, in the hospital for a full recovery. and was not able to contact you in order to submit the explanation letter for my absence from the exam with appropriate documents as requested by the regulations of the university. I attached them to this letter below. Okay, fine. You could have said, I have attached them. It's fine. It's probably a little better. It's more accurate. Now, I would like to suggest that I take the exam on June 21st together with Group B for this course taught by Professor Schwartz. Know the. And capitalize Professor. It's part of his name. The curriculum of both groups is the same, therefore the exam is suitable for me. As an alternative, I would like you to consider scheduling a special additional date for the exam for the students like me who could not take the original test. I strongly believe it is fully justified to do so because in the current circumstances my absence was not my fault. Alright, I'm really happy with this paragraph because you did something most people don't. You gave possible resolutions. Most people just give one resolution and that's wrong. I know it seems like semantics, but it's plural here, and so they wanted more than one solution. You gave more than one solution, so well done with that. All right, now let's see your closing. Once again, I apologize for the situation causing you troubles. What's going on here? I don't know why you have this finding or resolution for me. It's strange. I apologize for the situation, comma, for causing you trouble, comma, and for finding a resolution for me. Maybe this is what you mean. I'm not really sure. However, I strongly believe that can be done. What can be done? A resolution? It's not clear. I mean, you had a lot of nouns in that previous sentence, so it's not clear what that it is that you're talking about here. Thank you in advance. I wait your response. You can phone me personally at the telephone number below. All right, so it's lovely. And this is, whoops, where did it go? Hold on. Great. So what I wanted to say was that this was awkward. I mean, what it is, I don't believe it is can be. It's wrong. I think you meant something else. And then my one little issue here is these choppy little sentences. I mean, they're kind of trite. They're kind of I would have liked something maybe a little different as like a sign-off. So something like, once again, I thank you for your in advance and look forward to your response. Okay, I think that would have had a nicer ring to it. Okay, and then the rest of it, you can phone me at the telephone number before. So you've got some good elements. So now what you need to do is kind of try to just pull everything together. Don't forget to write these errors on your error correction list. Don't forget to correct your essays, send them back to us with your new essays. We're here, we're waiting, okay? So we'll let you get to writing, and I look forward to seeing your next essays.